Okay, Algebra 1. So we're finally going to record the topic on continuous domain and range. This is what you were doing yesterday in that activity. A lot of you actually got it, so this might actually seem kind of trivial to go over, but we're going to go ahead and go over it anyway. Okay, so underneath your topic of domain and range, go ahead and add continuous domain and range, and this is going to be a 10. Okay, go ahead and write that down, please. Okay, just like always, title your next page, Continuous Domain and Range, page 10. You're going to copy a few things here first, and then I'm going to explain them. Go ahead and copy this down first. Notice that my domain is still in the color blue, which is what I always use for a domain. Okay, so domain, we should already know, is the same as our x values. I went ahead and drew a little coordinate plane here and circled my x-axis because this is what you're going to be using for domain. And we always go from left to right. So we get the far left point and the far right point. This right here is the format. Usually you have a number, this symbol, the x, the symbol again, and another number. This is if you have two endpoints. Okay, you have an actual number on the left and a number on the right. When you have a number only on one side, that's a different case, and I'm going to show you an example of that. Okay, so this is just the notes. This symbol here, or this format, I'm sorry, means that your domain, your graph is between this number and this number, whatever they are. Okay, we're going to do the same thing for the range. Go ahead and copy this down right underneath, and notice also that I'm using red because I usually use red for range. So go ahead and copy that down, please. Okay, so ranges are my y values, and just like the domain, we have the similar format, number less than y less than number. The only difference is we have a y instead of the x. Okay, for range, you always have to think lowest to highest. So you start from the bottom and you go up. I circled my y-axis for this one because range is the y values. Okay, we're going to go ahead and do a few examples, and we'll let you take it from there. Okay, so here's the first example. Go ahead and copy this down, please. I'll give you a little bit of time. Okay, so we have a graph with a closed circle on the left side or the bottom, and an open circle on the top and on the right. So what I'm going to do first is label this. Okay, go ahead and label this. Notice that I'm still keeping my colors consistent. So I have blue for domain for the x's and red for my range, for the range. If you have questions on how I found these points, please ask. It's pretty much just, well, this one is 1, 2, 3, -3, down 2, -2. Same with this one, just on the other side. Okay, so we labeled our points. So for my domain and range, and go ahead and copy this first. For my domain and range, I'm going to go ahead and put those numbers. Remember, for domain, we start on the left side, so it's -3. And then we go to the right side, so it's +3. So in between, I have -3 and 3. For the range, I start with the bottom, the lowest number, -2, and then the top, 4. So in here is where I'm going to put those symbols, and they look something like this. Okay, go ahead and copy that down first. Okay, so it's always going to be less than x, less than, and less than y, less than. The symbols will face the same direction when there are two numbers involved. Okay. In order for us to decide whether or not to put this line, we have to look at the closed circle. If you look at this over here for our domain, okay, this is a closed circle, so therefore this right here was a closed circle, so I included the line. Okay, let me erase a little bit of this. Okay, so that was a closed circle. Okay, the other one, this one right here, is an open circle. So this one should be open. Okay, same thing goes with the y. We look at the bottom one, it's a closed circle. So we have that equal sign here. The top one is an open circle, so we do not have the equal sign. So in this case, both follow the same pattern. Okay, and that's pretty much it. If you have any questions, let me know. I'm going to jump to the next example. Oh, and before we do that, I went ahead and added this here. You can add this if you need it. If you don't need it, you don't have to write it down. This is just pretty much telling you what I drew here, that with the equal sign, we have the line underneath, that's going to be a closed circle. Okay, less than, greater than is an open circle. So go ahead and copy that if you want to. Okay, next example, go ahead and draw it. Try to be specific with this point here, this top point here, and this right here. Okay, so go ahead and make sure you have those points at least correct. Okay, just like the example before, we're going to go ahead and label a few things here. Notice that I went ahead, because this one looks so weird, okay? I labeled my left point and my right point. And what I mean by left and right is the point that's farthest to the left and the point that's farthest to the right. Okay, so I did that in blue because that's what I care about for domain. Remember, for me, my domain is everything that's blue. Okay, for my range, I'm going to go ahead and do something similar, except well, I'm going to label the lowest and the highest. So in this case, this point is also the lowest, but if you look at the graph, the highest point is actually this one over here. Okay, so that's important because when we find the domain and range, we have to consider what point we're going to look at. Okay, so just like before, we're going to label all those points that we dubbed left, right, low, high. Okay, so go ahead and copy that down, please. Okay, notice that I'm still staying consistent with the numbers. My X's are all blue. My ranges are red. This one should be red. I went over it in red. Okay. And now we're just going to go ahead and fill out our domain and range. So, domain for this one. If we look at our left and our right points, okay, we labeled it left. We have -4. And for right, we have 5. So my points are -4 and 5. In the middle, since this one's a closed circle, we have that equal. Since this one's also a closed circle, we have it equal. And we're done with the domain. Notice that I did not use this number here, the 4. And the reason I didn't use it is because, yes, it's part of the domain, but the farthest one is 5. So this right here tells me that the graph is between -4 and 5. And well, 4 is between -4 and 5. So we're good. It's covered. Okay, the range. Go ahead and copy this down, please. We have a similar phenomenon here. We have our lowest point of -3 and our highest point of 6. So just like before, we put those numbers here. They are both closed circles, so they both have the little equal sign underneath it. And that's pretty much it for this example. If you have questions, please let me know. There are 1 to 2 more examples, I believe. Okay. Okay, go ahead and copy this one down. Make sure you get this point correct. Okay. We're going to go ahead and label the 1 point that we have here. Actually, we're going to label 2 things, but you'll see how that goes. Okay, so go ahead and write this down, please. Okay, so this point is easy. It's just -4, 1, 2, 3, 4, and up to 1, 2. So this one's easy. Again, I'm keeping my domain, the X value blue, and my range red. Okay. On this side, however, it's an arrow. Whenever you have an arrow, things change. Okay. This is that special case I was talking about. It's going forever to the right to infinity, and it's also going forever up to infinity. So when this happens, that means that we're either going to use either this one or this one or this one with the equal sign or the other one. Okay, and it's only going to be one of them. So we're only going to use one of these. And actually, I'm not going to write that down. It's going to look weird here. We're only going to use one of these, okay? So we have to look at what we're given. So for my domain, I have only one number, so I'm only going to have one number. Okay, so it's x, and there's my number. A little too fast. Okay, go ahead and copy this down. I went ahead and used greater than because it's pointing to the right. So since this is pointing to the right, that means that it's going to be, well, greater than -4. So it's pointing to the right here, it's pointing to the right here. Same thing. If you have questions on this part, please let me know. I can try to demonstrate it a little bit different if you don't understand. Okay. With the range, very similar. Since there's only one number involved, well, we put our y, we put one number, okay, which is a 2. And this one, since it's going up, well, that means it's bigger than it, right? So since it's bigger than 2, it's also greater than, pointing up, greater than, okay? If you have questions, again, please let me know. This domain and range, guys, it's not an easy topic, but as soon as when you do get it, you get it. Okay, it starts coming easier and easier. And we'll be working on this all year long. So this won't be the last time you see this. Okay. One more example. We'll go a little bit quicker because we're already at almost 11 minutes here. Go ahead and copy this down. Okay, so this is another kind of interesting case. We have an entire line that's our far left and an entire line that's the far right. Okay, and just like with the domain, our range is also similar. We have an entire line that's the lowest point and an entire line that's the highest point. So for these, it looks difficult, but it's actually not that hard because all we really have to do is label what those numbers are. So for the x, this is just 1, 2, 3, 4, negative 4. And this side, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, positive 5. We do the same thing with the range. So this one's just negative 3, this one's just 4, and all I'm doing is counting the units. So my domain for this one is just those two numbers. So I have negative 4 and I have 5. So there they are. And because it's a solid line, there's no hole, it's equal to. And just like the domain, the range is very similar, except of course we use negative 3 and 4. And that's pretty much it for these, okay? So anything that has some kind of shape, you're still going to look at the far left, far right for your domain, lowest, highest for your range. And I believe that is it for this video. If you have any questions, please let me know. Go ahead and get started. I believe there are, I want to say 8 graphs you have to do. Okay, so go ahead and get started, please.